Whales have horizontal tail fins, but remember that they aren't fish. Whales aren't fish. This is common sense. You have to know that. They are mammals. What is a mammal? Mammals are animals which give birth to their babies rather than laying eggs. Okay? And when they feed their young, they feed their milk. That is what mammals are. Okay? There's a difference, a big one. Now, back to caudal fins. What does that mean? There's a difference, a big one. And then now back to caudal fins. Means there's a big difference between a fish and a mammal, but she's not going to explain that because that's not the main topic, all right? So she's explaining going back to caudal fins again. There are 8 main types, and the shape is the main difference between them. There are 8 main types. What does main mean? Main means the most important thing in a situation, all right? Here, they're all on the screen. First, we have the pointed tail right here. First one is the pointed tail. Okay? What is a tail? Tail is a part of an animal which sticks out, which extends beyond the end of its body, the back of its body, alright? And a tail is not a fin, okay? First we have the pointed tail right here. It's not really a fin, but it's in the rear and swishes back and forth to help with movement. It's in the rear. What does that mean, rear? Rear means at the back, alright? And swishes back and forth to help with the movement. Swish. What does swish mean? Swish means a quick movement in the air and making a soft sound. Okay, swish. So it's a tail which swishes at the back of the fish. Next is the pointed caudal fin here. What does that mean, pointed? Pointed means the end of it is long and thin, okay? As you can see, it's slightly wider than the pointed tail. It's slightly wider. What does that mean, slightly? Slight means a little wider than the pointed tail. Also, it has raised parts on the top and bottom that are obviously fin-like in nature. It has raised parts. What does that mean, raised? Raise means to make something go up, alright? So, they're saying that if this is going to be a pointed tail, right? This is going to be a pointed fin where there's a raised part. You understand? Okay. So this is why this one is a tail and this one is a fin. Okay. All right. It has raised parts on the top and the bottom that are obviously fin-like in nature. Fin-like. What does that mean, fin-like? Fin-like means it's like a fin. Alright? Let's go on to the next part.
Third is the round caudal fin. It's triangular in shape, but as its name indicates, its end is rounded. Next is the truncate caudal fin. Here, it's similar to the rounded fin, except that its end is not rounded, but it's more square-like. Fifth is the emarginated caudal fin. It's also triangular in shape, but the end of the fin is not quite squared off. Instead, it's more fork-like. The sixth one is the forked caudal. Again, notice the triangular shape, but the fork right here. is very pronounced. You can see two distinct forks in the fin. Seventh is the lunate caudal fin. It's also forked, but the forks are thinner, and its shape is like the moon in its crescent stage. Finally, the last type is the heterocercal fin. It too is forked, but notice here that the top fork is longer than the bottom fork. Usually in these fins, the top fork has cartilage, which gives it more strength. Sharks typically have this type of fin.
Okay, what is this part talking about? It's talking more about other types of fin, okay? It's very complex, so don't get too stressed to take notes of everything, alright? If there's too much detail, the question is not going to ask about the detail, okay? You're going to ask about something else, how the lecture is arranged or something like that, or what part of the topic is the professor talking about. They're going to ask something like that rather than the detail, okay? Third is the round caudal fin, okay? It's triangular in shape, but as its name indicates, its end is rounded. So the third one is the round caudal fin, all right? So, okay. This means this. The shape is triangular, okay? But the end is rounded. So it's this shape right here, okay? You see it? As its name indicates. What does indicate mean? Indicate means it shows. The name shows that the end is rounded. Next is the truncate caudal fin. Truncate. What does that mean? Truncate means the tip or the top of something is cut off. Do you understand? So it will look like this. This is the round shaped, right? But the truncate will look like the end is cut off. So it looks more like this. Do you understand? Okay. It's similar to the rounded fin, except that its end is not rounded, but is more square-like. Do you understand? It looks more like a square than a round shape. Why did they say that? Because it looks like this. Okay. Fifth is the emarginated caudal fin. Emarginated. Oh my God, there are vocabularies which are very complex and difficult, but you don't need to know all this, all right? Emarginated. What does that mean, emarginated? Emarginated means the end has some cuts looking like a V shape or a round shape, alright? So a cut, emarginated, will look like there's a cut here. Do you understand? So that's what the fin will look like. It's also triangular in shape, but the end of the fin is not quite squared off. Squared off. What does that mean, squared off? Off in this case will just mean emphasizing. It will look squared. All right. Do you know what triangles and squares are? What's a triangle? Tri means three, right? An angle means it has three angles. It's a shape with three sides and three straight sides. A square is a shape too, where it has four straight sides and all of the angles are right angles. Right angles means 90 degrees, all right? That's a square and a triangle. Instead, it's more fork-like. Fork-like, it looks like a fork, all right? The sixth one is the forked caudal. Again, notice the triangular shape, but the fork right here is very pronounced. It's in triangular shape, but the fork is pronounced. What does that mean, pronounced? Pronounced means to say a word with a particular sound. Saying a word with a particular sound is pronounced. But if you say something is pronounced, that means it's very clear. You can see it very clearly, okay? You can see two distinct forks in the fin. Two distinct forks. What does that mean, distinct? Distinct means different from the others, so you can notice it very clearly, okay? Seventh is the lunate caudal fin. Lunate. What does that mean? Lunate. Lunate comes from a word lune. What does lune mean? Lune means moon in Latin, all right? Moon. The moon in the sky. Lunate means it's in a shape of a moon, but which shape? Okay? In the crescent shape. Understand? What is a crescent? Crescent is a shape where the shape is curved, all right? And the middle part is wider than the end. Do you guess what the shape is? This is a crescent, okay? We have them in bread stores too, right? Bread shops. You can in French it's pronounced croissant. That's the crescent, okay? It's the shape of the moon in its first quarter or the last quarter of the phase of the moon. You understand? Lunate caudal fin. It's also forked, means it looks like a fork, but the forks are thinner, and its shape is like the moon in its crescent stage. Its shape is like the moon in its crescent stage. You understand? What is stage here? Stage. Stage is a part of a process or an activity or a period. All right. Finally, the last type is the heterocircle fin. Heterocircle. Oh my God. This word is very hard, but you don't need to know these kind of words, all right? You'll just have to infer the meaning from the passage. Heterocircle. What does that mean? What does hetero mean? Do you know what hetero means? Hetero means different. What is the opposite word then? Homo. Homo means the same. You understand? As in homosexual, all right?